Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Portman Road. We'll whisper quietly because we are well and truly behind enemy lines to the extent where if we just turn there, you'll be able to see some blue seats. That is our proximity to what might be some very happy Ipswich fans this afternoon. Let's, of course, hope that isn't the case. Welcome to Portman Road. Norwich City's team is out, and I guess the key thing to say is that, from our understanding, Dimi Yanulis missing this game through an injury that we don't believe to be serious, but obviously David Wagner will provide a bit more of an update post-game. The other change is that Kellen Fisher is dropped out, Jack Stacey brought in. Otherwise, as you were for Norwich City, Gunn in goal, Stacey, Duffy, Kenny McLean at centre-back, and Sam McCallum comes in ahead of Dimi Yanulis. Sarah and Marcelino Nunez are the midfield two, with Rowe and Sainz either side of Barnes and Ida. The subs: Long, Fisher, Poeta, Forshaw, Bart, Hernandez, Springett, Fashnacht, and Gibbs. Paddy Davitt is alongside me. Paddy, Portman Road, always nice to be here. Let's start with that left-back change. Dimi Yanulis out, Sam McCallum in. Feels like quite a bit of a blow for Norwich City.
Yeah, certainly with the ball and what they're trying to do, which, as we discussed on the podcast during the week, I don't think you're going to stop Ipswich scoring goals because you look at their 30 goals in the 10 previous home games, but they do concede at the other end. And with Yanulis and his natural attacking instincts, we saw it midweek, that the cross for John Rowe to seal that win against Sheffield Wednesday. That is a blow, yeah, there's no doubt about it. McCallum is pretty undercooked in terms of recent games, and I think you said in the drive over, his last start was the Coventry game where he got hooked, I think, because he had a difficult afternoon marking Sakamoto, very good wide player for Cov. So you'll have to be a little bit concerned by that, no doubt. But yeah, as you say, if he's out, he's out, and David has to either go with him, or I guess the only other option there in terms of left back was Poeta. So,
and that experiment hasn't worked particularly well at Cardiff.
No, yeah, exactly. He got hooked at Cardiff, didn't he? So needs must, and then Stacey for Fisher. I think I can see that in terms of the experience in a game of this magnitude, and then unchanged the other 9. So concerned to look at the bench. I don't see too many changing up elements there. Hernandez and Fashnacht. You know, we've had this debate underlined graphically midweek with Rowe and Sainz's impact, that they probably won't come on and affect it too much on the evidence of the last 2 months or so. And beyond that, you look at Gibbs, Springett, and that's pretty much it. So it's going to have to come from the 11 who start this game today. And yeah, we're a little bit late, but only because we got caught in the blue action.
That was good fun, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, just got a bit of chesty throat now with all that blue smoke, but there was thousands there, yes, and that just underlines for me that this place is bouncing. And
they do this their time, don't
they? Oh yeah, absolutely, yeah. There's a real confidence about this place today that this is the day that 13, 14 years of hurt end, and you just hope that it isn't an emphatic one-sided margin of victory, which was what we all fear, isn't it? But yep, that'll all play out in due course. But there's no doubt today that this 11 are going to be tested like they haven't been tested at all this season. And my fear is Plymouth, Sunderland, where they just disintegrated really in the face of a real cohesive attacking, and anything they've faced this season isn't this Ipswich team doing what they're doing with the attacking armoury that they've got. So, and the motivation, to really right a wrong that's been now 14 years or so in the making. So all the elements are there for the inevitable outcome. It's for this Norwich group of players and the fans here today to maybe hold up that charge to East Anglian dominance.
Yeah, and we'll bring you that Ipswich team very, very shortly when we can. But someone who has been spoken a lot about in the build-up to this derby, Borja Sainz, a goal and assist on his first championship start for Norwich City on Wednesday against Sheffield Wednesday, 3-1 win, of course. Much debate about whether David Wagner perhaps would show the bravery and be willing to start him in a game of this magnitude. There probably was an argument to maybe go for some more experienced options, particularly given how strong Ipswich are in wide areas. The right call for you to unleash him. They are going to need attacking quality, and as we spoke about, I think a bit on the podcast, because of how aggressively high Ipswich deploy their wide players, there is going to be space there for Norwich to exploit on the counter.
It's a risk and reward method that McKenna's adopted, and it's proved robust. One defeat here in the League One season, last season promotion. As of 10 league games this season, 1 defeat, and that was to Daniel Farker's Leeds, which probably underlines the point. That was 4-3 to Leeds that day. That is this Ipswich team looking at them from afar. They will score goals, they will concede goals. And so in that context, Sainz in, I think it was a no-brainer really, because what you're going to do, you're going to go with Hernandez and Fashnacht instead of Rowe and Sainz, and try and frustrate. I think Wagner said that to you yesterday. That's not a policy that's going to work here. You need to carry a threat going the other way. It's brave, but they still need to respect the threat and try and be very structurally organised out of possession. But I just think when they do get the ball, particularly in transition, we saw the Ashley Barnes goal. That for me is where Norwich will get opportunities. Maybe a breakdown in an Ipswich attack on the edge of their own box. Bang, bang, bang. Sarah, Ida, Sainz, Barnes, goal. That for me is Norwich's best opportunity to, as I say, prevent the narrative that it feels like is going to unfold here in the next couple of hours. And for that reason, I mean, can you imagine the reaction now if Sainz had been left out today after what he did midweek? That almost to me would have been raising a white flag before the game had kicked off. If Ipswich are going to beat them and they're going to prove that they're a better side with better attacking players, then go on. But at least have a go. I think that's my feeling today. At least have a go. Don't be so passive like they were at Sunderland most recently, where it was almost like, well, we don't feel we can compete with this team. We're just going to sit back and cling on. And they got their noses in front that day, but it just wasn't good enough. And anything other than a front foot performance today is only going to end one way for me.
Yeah, just to recap, so I see a few people asking about Dimi Yanulis. From what we gather, he is out with a slight injury, so he misses this game. Sam McCallum comes in for him. David Wagner will provide a bit more clarity in terms of timescales, but I think the expectation we have is hopefully it's not a particularly serious one. Right, let's bring you that Ipswich Town starting 11. Here it is. They've got Hladky in goal, Clark, Wolfenden, Burgess and Davis as the back four. Morsey captains them with Luongo alongside, Burns and Broadhead on either flank with Chaplin and Hurst. Now, this Ipswich Town side, Paddy, they've won 9 of 10 at home. They've scored 30 goals. That's the highest of anyone else in the Championship. That front line has been pretty prolific, but they've shared goals around. It's a very good Ipswich Town side that Norwich City are facing today.
Yeah, we talked about the wins, but 30 goals at home this season.
Game, yeah.
Well, the nearest team to them in the division, I think, is I can't remember, but they've got 24. So they are prolific, and those players in those attacking areas are. I mean, you look at the goal charts; they're all around 8-9 goals. They're sharing them out. You don't have one dominant player who, if you were Norwich and looking how to nullify, it's like, okay, you deal with one. Unfortunately, with this team, the threat is all the way across that front four. So, yeah, I mean, you look at Stacey, not the best defensively. McCallum, as I say, he's been deferring to Yanulis, and when he's had an opportunity, he hasn't really nailed it down. And Duffy, divides opinion to be charitable, and then you've got Kenny McLean, who probably looks to be the best defender of the four, which underlines the problem. I mean, it goes without saying, but Angus Gurn, I think, will have to have a game of games today, because irrespective of what Norwich try and do in terms of out of possession, this team, based on the record this season here, they will create chances. They will be testing Angus Gurn. So you need your keeper to play really well, prove he is what I feel he is, the best in the division. And as I say, then it's all about what can Norwich do going the other way. But we focused there in this segment on the front four. The middle two, I think that's an important. Longo and Morsey
against Sarah and Nunez as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Does that Norwich midfield have enough protection for you?
No, because that's not their natural game, is it? So again, it's within a structure, those two, within an overall structure. I think if you're relying on those two to go up against Morsey and Longo and out-battle them and outwork them, I don't think that's going to happen. So, and if Norwich don't get a foothold in that area of the pitch, then it is just going to be relentless one-way traffic. So, there's lots of areas of this game where Norwich try and, at the very least, have to get some parity, and if they don't, it's going to be a long afternoon.
Yeah, at this juncture, I'm really just interested to get a sense of the people watching. We've got 330 people on watching this at the moment. I want to hear your score predictions and how you feel this game is going to go. So get those score predictions in. We're going to move on now to how Paddy sees the game going. Those boos are because the Norwich City team is being read out here at Portman Road. Paddy, I think I thought that was me and you. They just I know. But if you strip the levels of emotion and feeling, because it's an East Anglian derby, Norwich City away to a promotion challenging side who could go top with a win here today, it feels like Norwich City are going to have to rely on Ipswich having an off day as much as their individual performances. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, when we did the podcast, I'm just punching through a few of the predictions here. I mean, there's a degree of optimism. There's some draws here. That's what I thought 2-2 earlier in the week. Are you standing by that?
No, I've got to be honest, I'm more fearful it's going to be this now. I just feel, mainly because now McKenna's done his presser, and as I expected, he said all the right things. He finished, I think, by saying, as Ipswich players get announced, we today want to give the best version of ourselves as a football club, and outside this ground is jumping, inside this ground is jumping. It's a very different animal to the Norwich Ipswich games of the last 14 years. I just don't see Norwich holding this tie back, so 3-1 Ipswich.
Yeah.
Tell the people you're real.
So this week, I'll paint the picture for you. I've had this horrendous vision. I'm not quite dreamt about it to those extent, but I've had this horrendous vision of Ipswich getting an early goal and the floodgates opening and Norwich being on the end of a really heavy defeat. I really hope that isn't how this transpires. But I could see that eventuality. But I think it feels like it's spectrums, doesn't it? You've kind of got a 1-0 Norwich win live. I guess maybe a draw live, but it feels to me, because of the atmosphere, because of the feeling, because of how McKenna has this team set up, I think it feels difficult to predict anything other than the Ipswich win. But, as David Markham said yesterday, Norwich have to relish that underdog tag. And I think if they can survive the opening exchanges of this game, it will be really interesting to see how this ground reacts to that, because for a lot of them, people my age at least, probably won't recall Ipswich beating Norwich. It's such a big thing for Ipswich Town in the season that they're having. And if Norwich can create that, or what if we don't, feeling, then that could be a route into getting something out of this game. But I think I'm probably going to settle on a 2-1 defeat and go
That's
that
what
way.
you've been saying off camera, Connor, so suffice to say there was a few more goals in the Ipswich column, but we'll leave it there, Connor.
Of course, we'll be over at Pinkham.com throughout this afternoon. We've got a special January off. We've got a couple of Norwich wins coming in, flash them up. 3-1 says Neil, 2-1 up in the 89th minute, then Ida on the counter. Wouldn't you love to see it? Ollie Frost goes for a 2-1 Norwich win. Paul on the other end of the spectrum has gone for a 4-1 Ipswich, which I think is where my head has kind of been at, if I'm honest. I mean, just finally, we've spoken to our Ipswich colleagues at the East Anglian Daily Times. They are very, very chipper.
Well, with every reason to be, they are a club on the up. There's no doubt about it. The culture is there. Well, this is only from afar, but look at the results. What they're doing this season. I don't see any other way they don't finish in the top 6 now. I mean, it's good they finish in the top 2. So, and every time they get tested, they got beat recently at West Brom. You thought, oh, is that them tipping the other way? No, they came back, they won a game here at home, they went to Middlesbrough last week and won. So every time they get tested, they find another gear. So, everybody around here, I mean, you put the boat on the other foot. If you're a Norwich fan who's had 14 years of misery and dejection in this fixture, why wouldn't you be bullish going into it off the back of the respective seasons these two clubs are having? But it's all about on the day, and that's where David Wagner's kept repeating since the Wednesday game. Forget what's happened before this season. Can this Ipswich group really prove they are the real deal today? If they win here and win convincingly, then you have to hold your hands up, and then there'll be a different debate and a different narrative around Norwich now moving forward and what it means maybe in terms of the whole direction of travel. But that's why it's fascinating. Is this confirmation of the plate shifting in East Anglia, or is it maybe there's not quite the gap we feel 21 points suggests in the table?
And we shall see. Pinkham.com, the place to go. We've got a very special December offer at this moment in time. You can go and check that out. Hopefully you can hear me over the very loud PA that they've installed in Portman Road. And I'll be on the live blog as well if you want to follow along. It's going to be an interesting, but let's hope enjoyable afternoon for Norwich City. I'd love to show you the away end, but from where we are, we physically can't see it, so that's good as well. And let's cross our fingers and hope that we emerge from this game with that long, unbeaten run in this fixture intact for Norwich City. Thank you very much for watching. Enjoy the game if that's possible. See you soon.